Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of So Recently. I'm Miranda, and joined with me, as always, is Matt.
What's up?
And actually, today we have a special guest here as well. And no, it is not my fiance, the only other guest we've ever had. It's an actual classmate from film school of mine, Mr. Gus. He is well, you are a director. You have directed your first short film somewhat recently still, right? But you wanted to come on and talk about movies because that is a huge passion, huge hobby of yours. So I'm really excited to dig into it. Welcome, Gus.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. It's very, very exciting.
Cool. Glad you're excited.
Yeah, right? Like, I know you've been wanting to come on this for a while, and we're just been not great at, scheduling.
To be fair, though, we're also not great at scheduling for just
the
Miranda
two of
and
us.
So
No, we're really not.
Adding a third person into the mix can get a little tricky, but that's okay.
That's true. But I'm glad you're here, man. I can't wait to get into it, all those movie stuff, especially since, I have some experience with these movie topics you want to go with. So I'm excited. Let's get into it. So, Gus, I guess lead off the bat here, like, what about movies draws you to it? Why do you want to make movies?
Yeah, so thank you first of all for asking that very, very clearly. I guess what makes me want to make movies is that I literally can't live without them. Not only just ideas, thinking of movies, but just movies is a part of my life. I put in so much time and effort just to explore new films, whether it's new releases or international features that usually skip by the U.S. guidelines and our audience. I feel like it's the sort of effort that makes me feel really passionate about what I do. Mostly whether it's making movies or watching movies or critiquing movies or writing about movies. It's something that I am passionate to the ends of the earth about. I guess for me, making movies is really expressing what's going on in my head and expressing how I see the world. But the second half, definitely paying homage to what I love about movies that really inspired me. And using both those qualities, just bringing in this piece of media, this art form, however an audience sees it, just to have them take 2 hours of their lives to live in someone else's shoe for a day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually have a question right away, if that's okay, just based on that answer. And I guess kind of going back to right at the beginning, Miranda, you said that you just made a short film, Gus. And so I guess I'm not as familiar, you and Miranda stay in touch, but we've only met a few times. And so what is that short film? And I guess kind of relating back to making your own your passion for movies, like what sort of like homages did you try and include within that story to other types of films or directors or things you've been inspired by?
Right. So the movie was the short film was called Gray Eyes. It's, to put it simply, it's a very spiritual short film that Miranda helped me produce. And helped me and really just helped me stay grounded on it and didn't exceed expectations, didn't go overboard, anything like that.
I kept you grounded.
Absolutely. Let's see here. But when it comes to paying homage to what I wanted in that short film, while I was still developing the script and saying, okay, what can I do, like film-wise, like what can I do to like take up some more time or to make it feel like it's in the world and not just a book. I was really influenced by, very recently before I started shooting, this movie by Hikaru Ozu that was called An Autumn Afternoon. Now, Ozu, he made a lot of movies in present-day Japan from the 1950s to the 60s, and his main message was having it set strictly in the present day, because he wanted his movies to look like a day in the life. Sort of look like a time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that really influenced me saying, geez, you know what? There was so much stuff that happened in like the present day that inspired me to write this that I thought like I could include like some cinematography or sound effects that could make it look like, oh, this is the present day. Oh, or if it's seen 20 years from now, oh, this is 2024.
Yeah.
This is
you wanted to capture like the time era. You wanted to capture that in your cinematography and sound design.
Absolutely.
I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first 4 minutes, until the main character was sucked into the spiritual world, and then that more went to like how I could elaborate her mental health through color framing and cinematography, as well as another character that was guiding her through this spiritual realm.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I think as someone who's not as, I guess, versed in movies, I mean, I did into film school like either of you did. With like a short film, I know, Miranda, you mentioned producing and kind of reining in some of the goals, or maybe not reining in the goals, but reining in the level of production that can be possible in a short film. Like, what do you find interesting about like working in a short film capacity versus, I assume, like long term you might have ambitions to do like a full scale film. Is that a good, I mean, hopefully that prompts some kind of theories or some kind of thoughts on the short film style, because I think that's something that's interesting to me as someone who doesn't have a whole lot of familiarity with it.
Absolutely. Just to clarify, is this addressed to both of us or just me, Miranda?
Honestly, it could be for both of you. I think since you've just created a short film, I'd love to hear your perspective, but I know, Miranda, you have that background in film school too, so
yeah,
feel
I mean,
free to input.
I wasn't as involved with the Gray Eyes as I'd like to have been. You know, like I wasn't able to make it to the shoots or meet the cast.
Okay.
But, you know, whenever Gus called, I was like, I can have a 5-minute phone call. Like, you know, I was able to help him out whenever I could. So I don't have too many experience. Like, I can't really speak towards personal experience on short films, I feel like, but I can see the appeal because, especially, and Gus, you can agree or not, but I think you and I especially have the love of doing a lot of different tasks, which is perfect for short films because normally you are like the only person or one of the only people doing several different jobs.
Absolutely.
And as you get to bigger and bigger productions, you have like very succinct, like, nope, you are a PA, you are a script supervisor, you are this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to dabble in, everything, which it is good for bigger ones because you need that.
Right.
But that's the only thing I can really speak to is I know small, like short films, you're more of the writer, the director, the producer, the cameraman, the sound designer, the editor. Like you're
wearing many hats.
Yeah,
You're not
so
just
you
doing one thing.
You could do all your favorite things, but I know, Gus, you wanted to talk about things that you didn't like your least favorite parts about the process as well.
Too. Yeah, so when it comes to my least favorite parts, especially with that project, I am absolutely terrible with lighting, but it was required.
Lighting is hard.
It was absolutely required for the night scenes, and the spiritual realm scenes. I really want to get more into like what I mean by that, but I don't want to give too many spoilers away. So just trust me when I'm rambling on. But so basically, there was a spiritual realm scene, but okay. I chose to have it at night and outside. And I brought 2 different lights with me that were battery charged. But the friends that were supposed to be helping me that I had 2 weeks in advance, they said, nope, sorry, I can't do it. Something came up. So here I was for 3 hours in Battle Creek National Park holding 2 lights and having my camera on my tripod and also holding my phone as a microphone and just saying, okay, action. Shake, my camera's shaking. Oh no, please, wait, you gotta say that louder. Oh no. And the best way I can describe it is that scene from Ratatouille when Linguida's hung over and Remy's trying to hold him back up and he's got like the hair and all of his feet and hands in his mouth and trying to keep him up and stay. That was
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was me during that entire scene, during that entire night.
Dang, well, I'm even now more sorry that I couldn't have been there.
It's okay.
Man, that would have been. I would have just watched you do it. I would have been like, no, you got it, man.
Also not there to help.
Yeah, not there to help, just to give you moral support.
Yeah. That I can imagine just having the limitations on manpower or, just having people there is a big hurdle, which I imagine working with a lot of people can be challenging on bigger sets, but then also when it's just you're probably wishing for a few extra hands that you can guide or tell what to do.
Oh yeah, just the setting up, like, because I've worked on a few sets where, there's a lot of people, but it's still like you have to set things up just so perfectly in the right place. The lights need to be correct. The camera angle needs to be right. The set needs to be, corrected if it moves at all. So there's a lot going on in like bigger productions as well. So I'm just imagining, Gus, that you had the best time trying to film as much as you could because, again, you were paying these actors too, right?
Yes,
like
I
this
was.
yeah. So you had done a whole crowdfunding thing and was trying to get money for this to pay these like actors, which is great. I know a lot of short films don't even do that, so that was amazing.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But like you don't want to take up more of their time.
Absolutely not. No, because
you need to give them more money.
At the end of the day, we're all human. Because I knew
exactly
it's a late shoot. Like, I mean, we went to 9:00, but still, as an evening shoot, I'm taking their evenings up, and I said, I'm paying you handsomely for this, but at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have our own lives, and I know this is something that you probably will look back on and feel like, oh God, what was this? So
what was that? Right.
Yes.
That's just it. Like so many of these actors and like they are a lot of Minnesota has like a lot actually that are where did you go? Where did you find these union actors? Because there's a site.
That was Backstage.
Backstage, thank you. I couldn't remember that one. But it's actually a really good resource. But they are union. And you knew.
So then there's specific specifications about how they work.
And there is.
And I remember communicating with you, Miranda, about one of the original actors for a really big role, and how she was union, strictly union, and how you were saying, "Wait, this doesn't need to concern you that much. I mean, you are a student filmmaker. You're not Steven Spielberg making this."
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was worried because I know unions have a lot of strict rules, and you were by yourself essentially. And I was like, "Are you going to be able to?" That's where my producer hat came on and went, "Hold up,
accommodate all the restrictions or the guidelines."
Especially if you were if you were to have like any minors and you know people who might have a rate that's a little higher because they've been in this industry longer. So it's like, are you going to be able to afford their time? And if you don't get everything on the first shoot, you're going to have to reschedule and shoot again and find more money. Or otherwise, everything you have is like, well, I have to use this take or I have to scrap the film.
Yep.
And you don't want that. So I was like, well, I don't want to, dash your dreams at all, but I wanted you to know, like, hold on. There's a lot to think about with these kind of things.
Just kind of going back to what we were talking about with, being a short filmmaker, having to manage kind of everything yourself. So you're doing the editing, I imagine, or you're, paying someone to do it and you're, figuring out all this stuff. What do you think is the most challenging part of a short film process as someone who likes filmmaking? Because I would imagine as someone who's an outsider is you probably have a hand in lighting and editing and everything, but finding funding and all the small little steps that require like getting a permit to go shoot somewhere or all of these logistical concerns, I imagine those are more challenging, but that's just my outsider perspective. Could you say like, what did you find the most difficult about doing it?
Let's see, the most difficult I found about that was definitely... So I felt like I had it pretty easy because I had people saying, "Oh yeah, you can shoot here," because my mom there was a scene at school I had to shoot, and my mom's like, "Oh yeah, here I'll get you the key. I'll just be doing some work." And let's see, there were 3 scenes shot in my own home, and there was 1 scene shot in my hometown's library that I got permission from. Very grateful for that.
Okay.
Battle Creek National Park, I was told by one of my professors that, like, public places, as long as you're not making a disturbance to anyone else, that it should be very fine if you do something there.
I see.
But the hardest part, I feel like, at the end of the day, communication, whether it's someone being slow on getting back to you or decisions that need to be made that you feel uncomfortable bringing up until the right moment comes, which sadly does happen. I'm still trying to be better at doing that. But it's, at the end of the day, it really is communication, which is a godsend, but also the hardest thing in the world. Whether it's you collaborating with someone, or permission to shoot on a location, or obtaining a permit if it's an area that requires it, then absolutely. Like, holding things back until the last minute is extremely irritating, which I am extremely guilty of. And
I mean, Gus, I'm thinking back to like school and just having classmates, hold things back. Like, every project I was either a producer or director on, so I was always the one trying to wrangle the classmates.
Yep.
And there were a couple times where it was like, oh, it's the same people. Like, guys, I need your stuff. Like, just tell me if you're going to be late, or just tell me that you're working on it. Yeah, communication is huge when making a film. It's like, I would say it's one of the biggest things.
Absolutely. I hope I wasn't that bad, by the way, when I was
No, you weren't that bad. You were usually on top of things.
Nice.
Yeah, I would imagine like most, I would say like most projects, right? Like any sort of group work and any job, right? Communication's like the key factor that can make the process incredibly frustrating.
No.
And I imagine it's tough to, is this your first short film, Gus, that you're...
So this was not my short film I've done. That I've done on my own or with people, but it was my short film that I've done outside of school, and that was outside of school or not linked to any company or anything like that.
Okay. So I imagine there is some challenge too with communication, and maybe, I don't want to say like name recognition, because obviously we're still talking more like short film, like local actors, local production, but kind of if you're the director and it's your short film, like you have to be the bossy one at times, or you have to kind of throw your name around and say, hey, listen, this is my film, I need this to happen. And I imagine that's more challenging as a newer filmmaker, right? Like in perspective of, this is still something you've only started really getting into very recently, as far as the doing it on your own. So I imagine as time goes on, maybe that communication step gets a little bit easier, as you're familiar with some of the hurdles and you can push a little bit harder, or you can ask a little more. But yeah, it sounds incredibly challenging.
I'm actually really glad you spoke on that, because with the challenging aspect, last year I said to myself, okay, so I've wanted to make grads for 2 years now. I was going to do it. I want to prove that I can do it on my own, that I can do it without school assistance, anything like that. I can wrangle up whoever I can. But the one thing I told myself was that I want this to sort of be a test for myself, just to see if I'm the right person to be a director. If I'm the right person to push myself forward to say, like, I want to be a director instead of such a minor roles on film sets, which so many friends of mine have said, like, oh yeah, I just want to be a prop designer, nothing too big. I still want to raise a family, but still work with these people. And while that does make sense, there's still just this urge in me that just would not let me sleep at night if I didn't take a risk and say, oh yeah, I can prove that I can direct. Here are 14 short films I've done so far. Mm-hmm. But yeah, while I was making Gray Eyes, I told myself, like, all right, this is just to tell yourself if you're ready for this sort of stuff. And there are so many challenges along the way that I would have easily said I give up, but at the end of the shoot, I just thought to myself, Jesus, I had fun. Like, it was stressful, sure, but it was, I don't know, it just felt like at the end of the day, it was just, I just have so much fun collaborating with actors and bouncing off how a line should be said or addressed, or what they should be wearing that day, or what props they should be using, because I definitely have the mindset that an actor should have control of the character they're bringing to life, because I don't want them to be a puppet that I'm pulling the strings for. I want them to be fully human and make the audience know that they are fully human still.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I guess, sorry, Miranda, I've just been asking all the questions. So
I mean, look, I knew you'd have the more questions, because, I mean, I could ask you a question if you want, Gus.
Okay.
I'll let you shoot for a question if you got one.
Well, this is a little future, but I know you mentioned to me that you were working on a new script. How's that going? Correct. I mean, are you okay talking about it yet, or are you still in the development stages? Where are you at with this new one?
Well, I'm definitely still at the very, very early development stages. Like, I'm literally just 2 pages of dialogue in the first scene,
nice.
which
Okay.
is not even complete, but
okay.
It's just still just this thing that I can easily slide off and say, oh, I'll do it next time. But there's also this part of me saying, you know what, this could actually be really good, because I felt so confident after I finished up Gray Eyes. I thought nothing could beat this, but there's still that piece of me that says, you know what, this could actually be pretty equal to it. This could actually, this could be your next challenge.
I hope this is even better. I hope that each project you do make gets better and better, and then someday I'm going to see you winning an Oscar or something, and I'll be like, oh, there's Gus up there. I know that guy. That's the goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, with that, like, long term, like, going into traditional film world? Like, do you have aspirations to direct for a studio someday? Do you have aspirations to, I mean, maybe not necessarily a movie, but a television, television episodes? I mean, what's kind of like the long-term goal specifically that you have in mind?
Yeah, so the long-term goal is definitely for directing. I would honestly love to be like the sort of person that's picked up by studios and saying, "Oh yeah, you got experience in this. Here's something that we do want help with. I know you're good with actors." And I said, "Yeah, sure. Give me a look at the script." But I guess when it comes to studios, Paramount and Universal have always been my favorites. Warner Bros. Maybe they're more business sided. I don't know if I can have whatever I bring be trusted with them.
I assume the business side of it is, that's where it gets conflicted too, because you have to trust that the studio,
and that's why I also
respect your work, and I mean, respect what you want to do with the film.
Well, and like the bigger it is, the director isn't really the person making the decisions in the end. It's the suits that are running the show. They tell you they want something in their movie, you do it. Like,
yeah, I feel like a few directors who can really
get away with it. Yes,
who really got away with with what they wanted to do.
There's certain directors who for sure have gotten the trust of the execs and the suits. But I think it takes a lot, and they probably went against what they originally wanted, and they gambled and they won, and they were like, okay, because that's something and some books I've read on different filmmakers and whatnot, they've all said similar things of, hey, I tried this thing, they were fighting me on it, but I was adamant, I stood my ground, I did it, and it worked out. And I wasn't fired. Yeah. But if it didn't work out, it sounds like they would have definitely been fired. So it's like,
you hear about the success stories a lot more than you hear about the failures.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
The compromise. I mean, you hear about the compromises, I suppose, but not as much about the abject failures or the those stories. But yeah, that's all really cool. I like that you have kind of these goals in mind and kind of these specifics that you want to aim for when you start working towards like the traditional film Hollywood industry, right?
Bigger picture.
I mean, even though it would be so cool to be picked up by Universal Universal, MGM, Paramount, you name it, for like one project, and I get a paycheck. I have a list of like 20 projects that I want to do in my own time and like self-funded, all that stuff. Just because, like I said, it's just something that they feel like kids to me, and I feel like I just want to bring them to life and to see if an audience will actually enjoy them.
That's awesome.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I can kind of agree to that to an extent. I got a couple ideas in my head that I'm like, one day maybe, but I have other things going on in life that have make it hard to sit down and actually do. So
tell me about it.
So that's why I make YouTubes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit about it, Gus. I don't want to keep you too long. I do want to ask a couple questions because we talked that, you're obviously a big movie lover. Kind of segueing into that category a little bit. What are your favorite movies? Like, what films would you stop someone and say, you have to watch this if they said they didn't see it? Because you're going to hit me with like 4 of them that I haven't seen, so I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good.
Well, the first that comes to my mind, if someone says they hadn't seen it yet, and that I have to convince, or worst comes to worst, just invite them to my place and maybe put something heavy on them and say like, all right, you're here for 2 hours, you're going to watch this, and I'll let you go. The first that comes to mind is definitely Forrest Gump.
Sure.
That one is always pushed by me. Here, let me see. I got a list actually that I. There we are. Give me a second.
Any Spielberg on there?
Let's see. Spielberg. Okay. Last Crusade and E.T. That is something that I definitely push for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
If I had to name 3 others besides those 2, American Beauty, absolutely phenomenal. Logan, 2017. I mean, that's like very, very everyone and their mother knows about that movie, but it's like it's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
But let's see. A lot of others I've been pushing others to see have been Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 1917. That one was released in 2019.
Yeah, that's one of Seth's favorites.
Nice.
I think, Miranda, you and I saw that one in theaters together.
I think we did, yeah. That was good.
That sounds familiar, at least. I know I saw it with you, I think, so.
Gus, I know you mentioned to me Sinners. These are more recent ones.
That was a
and
very,
the
very,
life
very
of,
recent
The Life
one.
of Chuck.
Oh, I haven't seen it
two
yet.
that came out this year. This year's been on fire, by the way. This year's been amazing.
I know. I need to see more.
But yeah, 2025. I remember recommending to you Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Black
Yep.
Panther, Creed, and Life of Chuck. Mike Flanagan. He did Gerald's Game and produced and wrote Follow the House of Usher and Haunting of Hill House and a lot of other those haunting specials on Netflix.
Yep, and I have yet to watch them, but they're on my list, and I will watch them.
Yeah, but it's amazing because it's a story by Stephen King and directed by Mike Flanagan, and when you hear those two names together, you think, "Ooh, another horror film," but it was
But it's
just
not.
beautiful. But I have one thing to actually address to the both of you.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
Yep. So, while I'm the main movie lover, I did want to ask both of you, when it comes to modern times, there have been so much buzz around if movie theaters should still be standing because streaming is now picking up movies and replacing them, and a lot of movies that didn't do so well at the box office now do a lot better on streaming.
Right.
So I want your opinion on that. What matters about movie theaters and if they're worth still standing today.
Matt, you want to take this one first?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, I wasn't sure if you had thoughts right away. I mean, I definitely... I feel like I have ebbs and flows of how often I'm seeing movies. I don't say I'm... There's been years where I go see a movie once or twice a week, and there's years where I haven't seen many movies. But yeah, I definitely prefer seeing them at a theater. I actually have a lot of trouble watching movies at home, just because it feels like a different commitment. It's a less focused commitment, and it's also more opportunities for me to be distracted at home.
Yeah.
I do as well, just because I am so guilty of being, whether it's playing Minecraft on my laptop or just catching up with friends over a text.
Yep.
I just
Yeah.
find myself getting a lot more distracted if it's watching something at home compared to 100% focus,
Yes.
a bag of popcorn in my
Totally.
hand. And
I have a dog, and that's
Oh.
a big hurdle. My dog
Yeah.
is
Definitely.
It depends on the night, and if he's tired, it's maybe a movie night, and if he's not tired, it's not a movie night because
Yeah.
I just can't focus. But
No, you don't
Yeah.
get the chance to sit and actually relax, which is the benefit of the theater, especially
Yeah.
I would like to think that for the most part, people who still go to movies aren't the ones on their phones and being annoying.
Absolutely.
But I almost exclusively now go to the Alamo.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to go to a movie, that's what we do. And then we make it like a date night. We get the food, the drinks. It's expensive. That's another thing, though, is it's expensive.
it's Alamo isn't that much more expensive than normal theaters
Exactly,
at this point.
It's
It's
I-
kind of reasonable.
Right. So I'd rather go to Alamo, and then they have the experience of okay, I can eat really good food in a recliner in a space that if anyone's making noise, I can make a complaint and someone will get them away. It's I don't have to deal with that anymore, which is nice, but there's also, James and I, we don't have a dog or a cat or anything that distracts us. So when we're watching a movie, the only time we might pause it is if one of us is I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, use
Which
the
is
bathroom,
the only, I think the best part about streaming services is you can do that because if you're in the
Yeah.
theater, you're is this a good spot? Okay, I don't think anything is happening for the next 10 minutes.
yes.
Say, I
you
just
book
saw
it.
saw a movie, and I the end of the movie, I was just sitting tensed because I had to run to the bathroom as soon as it ended, but I didn't want to leave, so I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah, that happened with that. Yeah, that happened with me a couple of weeks ago when I saw Superman opening night, and
That was where, yeah.
40 minutes. I was like, oh god, okay, I don't think anything's going on. I come back, I was like, wait, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
Dude, when I saw that movie, I purposely didn't drink anything until halfway through the movie, and then I started drinking water, and I was I'm not.
Oh, I was
Yes.
drinking soda the whole time, and then by the end of it, I was like, oh my god, I have to go.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there tense, and I, as soon as it got to the end, I was like, I gotta go, I'll be back. I know there's stuff
hilarious.
after the credits, but I'll be back.
That's really funny. But yeah, to answer your question, Gus, I would say that I absolutely love theaters, and I wish they were still really popular. I do worry about how they're probably going extinct slowly and slowly, because you look at the box office, and the box office does not do well, but then it goes to streaming, and it's suddenly like, oh, this movie's amazing. It's getting great reviews, and people love it, and
I do think places like Alamo will bring some of that back, though, because I do
do
think
too.
like there's a big difference between like the run-of-the-mill standard AMC Marcus, movie theater where you're kind of having like the worst quality experience most likely. I mean, some of those places, depending on the specific chain, it like does okay, but
Yeah.
versus like something like an Alamo or a place where it's like a smaller local chain that like makes people be quiet, or like they just have like general positive movie going culture there, then that's better. I think people like that. So I don't know.
I do wonder if this year, especially since it's been so good with movies, if this will be kind of a revitalizing year, or if people are still going to be pointing towards it'll come out on streaming in like 30 days, which I think is another point, is because big production companies know that it won't last very long in the theaters. They're like, we're only going to have a short window, so if you don't see it in theaters, don't worry, it's coming to streaming, so people don't put it as like a priority, which I have not thought about. Like, usually it's like, oh, is that movie out? Oh, shoot, is it still out? Like, I don't pay attention to when things are coming out anymore, because I know it's going to be like, well, I missed it, so it's on streaming though.
So I've actually got two more things to say about that. One that I want to compliment Miranda on saying, and two that actually contradicts my start of the question. So you mentioned how I feel like a lot more movie theaters are trying a bit harder, like Alamo are trying more harder to bring audiences in, saying like, you're in for a good time for this. And I definitely feel like that's been the case since 2023, when Barbie and Oppenheimer were released side by side. Like, since then, I've just noticed so many more people going to the theater, whether it's for outfits or getting the outfits for those two movies, or getting the sandworm popcorn bowl for Doom Part 2.
Oh yeah, they're making it more of an event. Like, hey, don't just come to the movie. It's a whole thing. And I do think that kind of, like, Matt, maybe you can... Do you remember, like, midnight premieres and people would actually dress up?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it kind of reminds me of, but no one goes to midnight premieres anymore.
Yeah, not midnight, it's like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now they let you watch it.
But people are doing that,
like,
throughout the showing. Like, they're doing it not just on opening night. It's like, oh, I'm going to go see Barbie, so I'm going to dress up. Like, and that's fun. I think that is pretty fun, and I think that does entice people to make it an event. Going to the movies is an event, again.
It absolutely is, yeah. So thank you so much for just everything you guys have to say about that. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Yeah, I hopefully think that theaters will stick around for a while, but I think it's a kind of a symbiotic relationship between the movies that Hollywood puts out and the movies that do well. So it's all a big puzzle, I suppose, that they're all trying to figure out. But
I mean, call me naive, but I feel like it's going to be standing for longer than we think. Just mainly because back in 2023, not only did Barbie and Oppenheimer release side by side, and everyone was so excited to go back in a very long time. I have faith that a lot of more people are going to step up and say, wait, this is the stuff that matters. This is why we go to the movies. This is,
Right.
That's
well,
awesome.
I would agree with you, Gus. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know this has been a long time coming. I know you've been wanting to share. And I know we could talk for probably hours about movies. So maybe we'll have you back on in a future episode again to talk about more current movies or something. Because... like, I know you. We could talk forever and ever about movies.
But yeah, awesome. Thanks. It was nice getting your perspective, Gus. It was really interesting hearing
about. Thank you both very much. Thank you.
Your goals as a movie maker. So that's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. So thanks so much, Gus. Do you have any final words before I sign us out here?
The end. Finn.
Perfect. Applause. All right. Well,
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little longer than normal episode, but like I said, Gus and I could talk about movies forever. So I got to end it somewhere. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it. I've been Miranda.
I'm Matt.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.